Hello, everybody. Welcome into a Thursday edition of the Computer America Show. Great program.
1 minute until showtime.
Set up for you tonight in the first hour. We have Spellex talking about their products that deal with dyslexia. And in the second hour of the show, we're going to have Parallels here, cross-platform solutions. We're going to be talking about their new Access product that lets you control your computer remotely. Interesting show, both hours, so sit back, relax, enjoy the show. We'll be starting in less than a minute. Ten seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
Hey, Ben, how are you? You're in another location. You've moved again. You are certainly...
Yeah, I'm on the lamb.
Yeah, on the lamb, exactly. This is probably why you don't have your video turned on. We can't see you tonight. Aw.
Yeah, unfortunately, not every location is, that suitable for video. So...
Okay, well,
it is what it is.
Now I'm intrigued. Now I definitely want to see it. Okay.
See, if I turn on my video, that would give away my location, which would then let the headhunters know where I am. So, cannot do.
Is it that terrifying? Here, let me take a peek. Yeah, I guess it's pretty bad. All right, so we'll.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll just have to. But hopefully we'll be seeing you. Later in the upcoming episode, certainly next week, and
certainly next week.
Okay, so are you saying Friday you may not be visual either, or?
We'll see. I'll keep you all reprised. If you miss my smiling happy face that much, too bad, I guess.
Okay, well there you go. That's it, folks. Maybe we'll see him. Maybe we won't. And it's going to be Friday tomorrow too. I mean, it's going to be a good show. We're going to have Ralph Bond with us.
Yeah, he got delayed from a couple weeks ago. So if you're like, oh man, I can never make those Ralph Bond shows, this is the night for you.
Yeah, it will be. Well, in the meantime, as I said, we have a really great show for you planned. Now, if you have a comment or a question for our guest tonight, you can call us at 347-884-8881. 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. Email live, L-I-V-E, at ComputerAmerica.com. If you're radio shy, it's a great way to get your question in. You can also join us in our chat room. At the homepage at ComputerAmerica.com, it says interact with the show. Just click the chat and live video button. On the left-hand side of the screen, you will see the chat room form. The entry form. Just put in a username. That's the name you'll be known by. When you go in there, click the connect button, and your browser will move you into the chat room. And also sharing that same page on the right-hand side is our live Computer America video stream. If you go there, you will the stream will start up automatically, so you don't have to do anything, and you can not only listen to the Computer America show, but you can also watch the Computer America show. Now, as I said, unfortunately tonight you can't see Ben. His face is hidden, and both of our guests tonight will not be on video. They're going to be via telephone service. So, but we have different demonstrations from time to time, and certainly it's these videos are always available. So it'll just be yours truly tonight, waving at you on our live Computer America video stream.
We apologize ahead of time.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. All right, so anything else before we get started?
No, it's always a treat when we have two guests back to back. So,
It is.
lots to do tonight.
Well, our guest this first hour is from a company called Spellex Corporation, and it is the world leader in industry-specific writing tools software. The flagship line of Spellex products features its plug-in industry spelling software for Microsoft and their speech recognition software for Dragon Naturally Speaking. Tonight we're going to be taking a closer look at their Spellex font product. Their font that's designed to help dyslexics read more effectively with better reading comprehension. There's also spell checkers they have for dyslexia and even dictation for dyslexia as well. Joining us is Vincent Petrello. Vince is the product manager for Spellex Corporation. Vince, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Hey guys, doing well, doing well. Thanks for having us on the show today.
Yeah, I found this very intriguing. I mean, I wanted to kind of define what dyslexia is. I went to Wikipedia and it says dyslexia, also known as reading disorder or alexia, which I didn't realize that, is a learning difficulty characterized by trouble reading despite a normal intelligence. Different people are affected to different degrees. Problems may include sounding out words, spelling words, reading quickly, writing words, pronouncing words when reading aloud, and understanding what was read. Often these difficulties are first noticed at school. The difficulties are not voluntary, and people with this disorder have a normal desire to learn. So it's not necessarily all, when I heard dyslexia, I thought, oh, it's, you see things backwards or reverse, but that's not necessarily the case, although it looks like that's probably one of the more common forms of dyslexia.
Correct. Yeah, there's obviously different symptoms that rear their head, but that is the most common is kind of inverting, disorganizing, jumbling letters around, which obviously causes reading comprehension issues.
And it can be genetic and also
That is
evidently
correct.
environmental factors too. Some cases run in families. It says it occurs more often in people with attention deficient hyperactivity disorder or ADHD, and is associated with problems with math. So it's actually quite a involved disability. But it also says dyslexia is the most common learning disability. It affects about 3% to 7% of people, and while it's diagnosed more in males, some believe it affects males and females equally. Up to 20% of the
Like,
population may have some
I would guess that dyslexia. I mean, the first thing that most people jump to is maybe just not a very good student or poor eyesight or one of many other things. Like dyslexia really isn't the first thing most people go to when a child is having trouble in school.
No, correct. Yeah. Obviously, it is a difficult a disability to identify right off the bat when an individual is younger and going through the educational process. But obviously, there are many facilities out there where you can take your child and get them tested and kind of fine tune and figure out what's going on and see if it's specifically dyslexia.
right, because the person who's dyslexic at a young age doesn't realize that something is wrong. Yeah,
Hmm.
or they don't not because they don't see it right. It's like they've never experienced it correctly in the first place, so they don't really realize something is incorrect until, and I guess
Sure.
obviously specific. I mean, this is even true when if you're nearsighted, and people they start squinting, and then the teachers will usually say, "Oh, hey, what's wrong? You need to
Hmm.
take classes." So, but there are.
Yeah, I mean, sure, parents could look at it more closely and even say, is the student just not paying attention in class? Are they not learning their spelling properly? Are we not spending enough time on this? When really it could be dyslexia.
Right, exactly. But there are specific tests that they can do
Uh,
to.
Correct. They do have facilities out there where obviously you get tested. Obviously, our professional experience doesn't necessarily revolve around the testing aspect,
No.
more so providing the solutions. But yes, the facilities have their own testing curriculum that they go through to diagnose dyslexia.
And as it's more common now, I mean, these are things that medical professionals can. These tests and things are obviously readily available to
So
Absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
And there's a lot of debate still out there about dyslexia and whether or not it's a real disability. It's becoming more and more the mainstream recognizing that it is a disability, but it's taken quite a bit of time to come to that conclusion.
Well, it doesn't always seem to be the case, you know, with things like this. Oh, they're just lazy, or
Yeah,
they and
sweep them under the rug.
exactly, and that's so, hopefully we're a more enlightened society today that we recognize these problems and with our children
Sure.
and do that. So tell us a little bit about your company, Spellex. What's it all about with you?
Absolutely. Well, Spellex has been the world leader in specialty spell checking, writing, and speech solutions for quite some time. Again, about 25 years we've been in business and producing solutions mainly around the specialized vocabularies that you can implement on your PCs. We originally developed, we kind of started off developing healthcare solutions for WordPerfect, which obviously WordPerfect is kind of an obsolete word processing program
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah. I said,
It's
huh? I remember
yeah,
Word
it's not
Perfect, but yeah, you're right. It is it's seeing its age.
definitely. I think the end is in the near future. But so we were providing solutions where we would incorporate that specialized terminology that wasn't already in the word processing program spell checker. And obviously, as the PC industry grew and more competitors came out, we grew to accommodate those like Microsoft Office. We offer spell checking components that integrate within Office and provide that specialized speech, or I'm sorry, specialized vocabulary, which is not already there. We offer many. Oh, go ahead.
Now, when you say specialized vocabulary, are you talking like industry professions, like medical terms,
Absolutely.
legal terms, that type of thing? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely. That is our main focus is we do offer several specialties, medical specialty, legal, bioscientific covers the sciences, veterinary, dental, botanical, and geographical as well. So
Wow.
all of those are specialized vocabularies that we do offer that, again, don't come in your normal spell checking product, so it enhances them and upgrades them.
And yes, that's very very, and I would think that if you're in any of those professions, that would be greatly beneficial because otherwise, every other word you're going to be tripping over, and the spelling software isn't going to work. So you provide those professional dictionaries. Um,
That is correct.
okay, medical, legal, bioscientific. Um, and then how do you incorporate yourself with things like Dragon, actually speaking?
Sure. Well, the speech recognition programs were a line of programs that we came out with maybe about 5 to 6 years ago, and we saw the need to add the specialized vocabulary within those speech recognition solutions. Obviously, Dragon has the majority of the market, so that's what we focus on providing plugins for. So we offer a medical, legal, and bioscientific specialty vocabulary for the Dragon Naturally Speaking suite for both Mac and Windows. It's a more affordable solution, but it's a very comprehensive solution. A Dragon does have their own medical edition. The program is approximately, like, I believe, around $1,400. So what we do is we offer an affordable yet comprehensive plugin for their lower editions of Dragon. They have a premium and professional version of Dragon, which our product plugs into. So instead of spending $1,500 for a medically backed Dragon speech program, you can pay for the, let's say, Dragon Naturally Speaking Professional, which is maybe around $250. Add our program for maybe another $250, and you have a full comprehensive medical healthcare solution for about $500.
Okay. All right. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I really kind of want to focus in on the dyslexic situation. That's one of the things we're going to do
Absolutely.
tonight. And we talked a little bit about dyslexia. Why don't you fill us in from your perspective? Tell us a little bit about dyslexia, and then we'll get into the dyslex fonts and things like that.
Sure. Sure. As you mentioned, dyslexia affects about the reports vary. There's reports out there that state that dyslexia affects up to 10% of the population to 20% of the population to some regard, some of the symptoms. Dyslexia obviously is a reading disability, and usually it's due to a defect in the brain's processing of graphical symbols. And it's a learning disability that can alter the way the brain processes written material. So uh, that's where we really focused in on, and with our other dyslexic aids, we felt that coming out with a dyslexic font would be a nice complement product to our dyslexic line that we already have. Everything that pertains to dyslexia usually has to do with viewing, reading, a font format. So we focused on that font and created a product for it.
Well, now,
So
okay, so go ahead.
yeah, no, just so the font wasn't your go-to method to, combat dyslexia. Like, you shouldn't just go out and get a new font because you think it'll help. I mean, shouldn't there be like training techniques and ways to identify, and other ways other than, everything in this font forever? Like, there are other ways to,
Sure,
kind of
absolutely.
help with it.
Oh, definitely. This font is not a. There is no one solution cure to dyslexia. What we provide is dyslexia aids, and basically with our software, it became quite a popular product among dyslexics. The spell checking solutions as well as speech solutions. So we work closely with the community, the dyslexic community, specifically in the UK. We have a large consumer base there, at which dyslexia has a high rate there. And we work closely with them as well as counselors, aides to dyslexia, and we work with solutions, and we kind of have discussions about how we can improve our products and offer complement products that will aid dyslexia. And this was one of the products that kind of came up in the conversation. So again, there is not a one solution product that will cure all dyslexic symptoms. There, you work as you use one product as part of a as part of a combined bundle to help aid with the symptoms. And again, even that will not take care of all the issues that you encounter if you have dyslexia.
Sure. All right. So, but I'm finding this fascinating, and we're going to talk about the Dyslex font and what makes it work so well with people who are dyslexic, and we'll get to that. But I'm kind of curious. You started to say, I mean, what gave you the idea for something like this, even in the first place? I mean, what was the light bulb? What was the thing that said, we could actually design a font that would help dyslexics? How did that come about?
Sure. Well, again, with a large base of our consumers purchasing the software for dyslexia needs, the spell checking components were the main product that our users would purchase for dyslexia. And again, in the UK, there's a large group of dyslexic individuals who we work with closely, and we gauge feedback as to how we can improve our products, where
Mhm.
we can move from there, and identify if there is any aid that we can provide with our expertise. And we felt that the font was something that we could look at a little more closely, because there are plenty of reports, research studies out there that have addressed this specific issue and tried to identify certain factors, characteristics, attributes in a font that could actually help the perception of the font. And in one of our discussions with a couple of the groups there, this was something that came up, and we took a closer look with our R&D team, and were able to design and come out with this font. If
What
you
kind
would like, oh, go ahead.
What kind of feedback? I mean, were you work that you were starting to develop this font, and you said, were you working with dyslexics and say, okay, well, is this easier for you to read, or do we
I would
need?
assume it'd be a much more scientific approach, like
Yeah,
what characteristics of a font make it easier.
I mean, how did you
Absolutely.
go about that? Exactly.
Sure. Well, we have a few sample populations in the UK that we work closely with to gauge, again, the feedback. When this idea about the font, when we narrowed our focus on this font to design and develop it, we went through all the research studies that were out there, gathered the attributes and characteristics that they found were more beneficial in a font, and then we began the designing process where we took each character, we applied these attributes and characteristics to them, and then once we came out, let's say, with our first prototype, we gauged the feedback with our groups that we have there and kind of worked from there. We tweaked, it obviously took some time, at approximately, let's say, I believe it was around 4 or 5 months or so to tweak design attempts and kind of narrow it in on something that the total group felt was more beneficial. Again, the font isn't necessarily something that works for everybody. That's why you need a larger group to sample and get
Hmm.
feedback from. Everybody sees text, especially if you have dyslexia, a little bit differently through their own eyes. So it's more going after the greater number, and if that product was beneficial to them, then kind of going from there.
Well,
Okay.
there's a lot to say that goes into fonts, and just like Times New Roman has like those little tails at the end of the letters, and it makes your eye flow more
Sure.
naturally, and then still and like there's a lot of study that goes into it. So I'm glad that you're kind of piggybacking on that to help with dyslexia.
Absolutely, yeah. Again, there's a lot of research out there that's already done, and that's what we use to design our font. And I'll go over a few of the characteristics and attributes that most studies identify and hone in on, and specifically reference that by doing this, you can improve the reading comprehension for dyslexia. A couple of the characteristics
Well,
are, for,
well,
oh, sorry, go
before you get that, let me ask you this. I mean,
ahead.
so with this font, did you create your own foundry? I mean, to develop this? I mean, or is
I'm
it?
sorry, could you
Uh,
repeat that one more time?
I was like, did you create your own foundry? I think that's the term that they use for with font development. I know Adobe, has is like in the font business, and they have like a foundry which designs a particular font that's involved. Or did you do all this on your own, or did you work with
There are
with? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we Oh, we used our internal graphic designers. There is a font program that you use to design font types, but it starts with the graphical design of the characters.
Mhm.
So our graphic designers took each character, worked through the attributes and characteristics, applied them to each character in the character set, and then you use the font software to basically kind of end it with a finished product.
Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit of how it works? Tell us about the Dislex fonts, some of the characteristics that you
Sure.
found were most effective.
Definitely. Well, some of the characteristics that the research specifically stated were here, for example, bottom-weighted characters. What that is having more weight on the bottom of each character. So kind of think of it like an anchor system. The bottom of the character has a little bit more boldness or plumpness to it, and it helps keep the character stationary, so it keeps them from being inverted, reversed, flipped, jumped around. So as a dyslexic's reading, it's kind of anchoring again each character into place and allowing them to recognize each character individually. Another characteristic that we used was ascenders and descenders, they call it. It's the portion of letters that extend up and down. So on B's and D's, the tails that go up and down, as well as P's and Q's. Making those lines go above the font mean line helps recognize the individual be able to recognize the character as its own unique character. Kerning
Yes.
is an
In other
Go
words,
ahead.
for example, if I'm looking at a standard font, I look at I don't know, Arial or Helvetica, which is probably the
Hmm.
most vanilla font out there. You're right. I mean, the trail is the P and everything. The P is actually higher, so the bottom of the P is actually in line with the bottom of an O, or in other
Hmm.
words, they're pretty much the same. Whereas with the Dyslex font, the P actually extends beneath the reading baseline of the other letters.
Hmm.
So that's that.
Correct.
Okay.
And again, it's helping create that individualness of each character, so that the individual with dyslexia can identify and recognize the character as its own, opposed to getting it flipped around. Most commonly, P's, Q's, D's, B's. Each one of those letters can be flipped around, inversed, and be read as each other. So making those unique is the goal of creating a good dyslexic font.
Yeah, you actually have a video that I encourage our
Yep.
listeners to watch, and you can see it. It actually, when you look at the video, it says, it shows some text and it says, "This is how a dyslexic sees these things," and you actually get a simulation of what they're seeing, and
Absolutely.
and I looked at that. I
And
can't even.
anyone with dyslexia, it will just blow your mind. So
Yeah, I never thought of that. When someone with dyslexia was looking at that video, would they see it normal, or they would just it would just even I don't know what would happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of depictions out there, kind of showing a view from a dyslexic's eyes, and that's just one example that we use. Other examples use letters that kind of float around and flip around, and it's really crazy, and you know it's got to be very difficult to keep your mind focused on one task while reading or writing.
Mm,
So you know, using any type of aid would definitely help.
okay, all right. So continue on. So basically, all the letters have like have a, and I'm looking. They're like weighted at the bottom. They're
Absolutely.
fatter. They're thicker or fatter. They
I have that same problem.
they gradually get bigger at the bottom than they are at the top. Uh,
Correct.
point
So
point.
again, think of that kind of like an anchor system. It
mm,
keeps them anchored down so the letters don't jump around on the individual.
Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
is that one of the more common features that I'm sure different characteristics will have be more useful to some than others, but with this anchoring, is this would you say that's probably more universal that most dyslexics find that to be of help?
That is one of the more beneficial characteristics. Absolutely. You know, combined, it's hard to give a true level as to each characteristic and how beneficial it is because again, dyslexia is so different depending on the individual that it inflicts on. So each characteristic, somebody may actually find that intercharacter spacing, that's another characteristic that we use. That just means that the letters are more spaced out. They could actually find that more beneficial than the bottom weighted characters. But it seems that the bottom weighted characters is one of the more beneficial attributes of a font to have.
Now you mentioned kerning in your font too. Is that something
Correct.
you use or you don't use?
That is something we use. If you kerning is a very difficult characteristic to describe just by using words. Visually, you get a true idea as to what's going on. It has to do with the positioning of letters next to each other and
Mhm.
giving the appropriate distance in between each letter.
Yeah, for example, if you have the letter T and then let's say you have a T and a lowercase I.
Mhm.
Normally, when you would have the T and then you would have the dot on the lowercase I would be to the to the right of the T. But when you kern them, it actually brings the I closer to the base of the T, and the little dot will actually be in many cases under the cross part of the T. So the
Yeah,
letters get
depending on the
closer
font.
together. Huh?
Correct. Yeah, depending on the font you use, that can happen. And again, it's very difficult to describe just in words. But when you see a visual description of kerning, you
Mhm.
immediately understand and associate what the spacing pertains to.
Right. Some word processors will even let you kern with standard fonts. They'll allow you to
Yep.
adjust the kerning space. Um, I don't know if you can do that with Microsoft Word. I think Word even allows you to do that now.
I
Um,
believe so. I believe Word has an option somewhere in the proofing menu
yeah.
where you can select kerning.
Okay. So, what kind of feedback are you getting from your customers who are purchasing or trying this font? What about the?
So,
Mhm.
Sure. So far, the overwhelming response has been very positive. Again, we don't say that our product is a one-stop cure for dyslexia. We encourage individuals to use our font with other solutions out there to cover all spectrums of the disability. But specifically with the font itself, it has gotten some rave reviews. Some individuals feel that it doesn't necessarily help them that much more than regular fonts. So, you know, you do have some individuals that feel that it's not necessarily for them, but the majority truly appreciate it. They use it in their presentations at school, their documents that they turn in, reading any document material that they get, they convert to the font to read. It's really being used quite extensively.
So that you're getting good positive feedback. When you get these feedbacks, do you get suggestions from people? Oh, I'd like to see this, or I'd like to see that, or can you add this or take
Sure,
this away? I mean, and
definitely.
do does this Lex allow you to make those modifications yourself as the end user, or is that something that Spellex has to do?
No, that is something Spellex has to do. This is a proprietary font design. So, internally, if we have suggestions that are given to us that we feel would be more beneficial by testing out with our sample populations that we use,
Mhm.
that would be something we would do internally with our graphic designers. It's not something where you can take it and design yourself and kind of use it in that manner.
Well, but it goes to the very nature of what you say. I mean, for some things will work, for others it won't work, and maybe what do you do if you get suggestions that, oh, this is great for our font, let's put it in, but some people don't like it? Are you forcing people to use one font, or are you going to have variations of Dyslexs, is this anything you might have considered?
Absolutely. Well, this is we only have one version of Dyslexs. This product is an evolution that goes on. The more feedback we get, the more suggestions we get, we take into consideration, we weigh them with the research that's out there, and then we make a decision to change or basically pass on making that change. It goes against the research that we've done and pulling from these studies that are out there and finding specifically the characteristics that affect the individual. So again, if only one individual is reporting that, hey, look, the bottom weighted characters is a little too much, we won't necessarily look at that and say, okay, well, we need to change it if only a few individuals are referencing that.
All right. All right, well, listen, we're at the bottom of the hour, Vince. We're going to take a little break, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Spellex is here with us. We'll be right back with them.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No Hair Removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No Hair Removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
You know what you're in for, right? This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, Epson LabelWorks LW600P. When we saw the new Epson LabelWorks LW600P at CES and learned that one of the zillion label cartridges they offer has cable wrap labels, we kept nagging them until they put one in our hands. The printer itself is smaller than a rice box. Runs on either an AC adapter or 6 AA cells, connects over USB or Bluetooth, and there's a list of apps and utilities for most popular platforms. It's a thermal printer with a built-in cutter that the software can automatically trigger as each label emerges. We don't want to dismiss the impressive collection of labels they offer for it on foils and fabrics and white, clear, metallic, fabric, fluorescent, or glow-in-the-dark backings. But for us, it's all about name tags for individuals within clutters of cables. The cable wrap label is sweet. The printing is done on a white backing on one half, You pull the backing off that half first and stick that part of the label on the cable, then remove the backing from the transparent half and keep wrapping. The transparent part covers and protects the printed part. Bottom line, even if you never use any of the other cool cartridges made for the Epson LabelWorks LW600P label printer, its cable decoding capabilities will thrill you. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. We have Vincent Petrella here with us, and we're talking about Spellex, their company. Really a huge help for dyslexics out there. I was going to say something about finding websites on the web for dyslexic people, but I figured that might come off as like some kind of joke about not being able to read web addresses. But anyways, welcome back to the Computer America Show. We were kind of, we just finished up one question right before the break, and I was kind of wondering, let's say, especially in an academic setting, because that's what I'm most used to, professors really don't like it when you deviate from your Times New Roman or your Arial or what have you. They have you, kind of set it to one font size, and that's it. Mm-hmm. So does your font kind of like? Could someone use the font to type out their paper and then change it? Like, does it work only with a certain type of program, or is it just like any other font in a processor?
It's just like any other font, so it's installed usually into, let's say you have a Windows PC, into the Windows font folder, and that is then accessible by any computer program out there that actually has a font selection. So for instance, in Microsoft Word, we're pretty much all familiar with the font selection where you can drop down, select your font, and go from there. So if you have a document, let's say that you're preparing for a collegiate class, you can type it out in your normal or in the Dyslex font, so this way you're helping your reading comprehension and writing skills, and then convert it upon completion to the standard font that they require. Now the Dyslex font, again, due to some of the characteristics, there are a little bit of sizing differences. So the font naturally views a little larger, and the spatial requirements in Dyslex might cause a little more extra space. So when you convert to a regular font, let's say, it may be condensed down a little bit.
In other words, if you were using it in a Word document and you'd have a few pages, basically you would just select the entire document and just go to the font menu and change it to Arial or whatever it might be, and in one fell swoop it's going to convert. But as you mentioned, spacing might change slightly. So if your document is sensitive to spatial requirements,
which is common for switching entire papers between fonts, you're going to get a paragraph or two difference in spacing.
But you probably should let your professor know that you're dealing with dyslexics and you use a dyslexic.
Or don't. You might be sensitive about it, and hey, if you can get it around without feeling like you need special treatment, then hey, you have the tools now.
Sure, absolutely. Most professors that we've experienced within our offering this product, they're pretty versatile in allowing students to use this if they're truly affected by dyslexia, and they feel that it is a benefit to them. So I'm sure there's plenty of willingness to work with the individual and kind of go from there.
I can't imagine some professor being so hard-headed that I want it this way. No, I would think that they'd be more than willing to comply. So exactly. So now this dyslexic font and everything, you also carry this over to some of your other products that we mentioned here, and that was the spell checkers for dyslexia and dictation for dyslexia. Could you tell us a little bit about these two products?
Sure. We'll start with the spell checking components. As I mentioned earlier, we do offer the specialized spell checking components that plug into Microsoft Office, as well as we do offer universal spell checking components that can work universally on a Windows PC. Now, these products, again, one of the major issues with dyslexia is the ability to spell words properly. So having a proper spell checker to work with, especially if the student or business professional is in a specific industry that requires specialized terms, that's where our products come into play. And we do have a lot of educational students that are studying healthcare, law, in the sciences who use our products. They have dyslexia, and they use our products as an aid to dyslexia to help with the poor spelling. That kind of falls in line with our speech recognition solutions as well. A lot of individuals with dyslexia find it's easier to dictate using programs like Dragon Naturally Speaking. And if you purchase just a regular Dragon Naturally Speaking program, you're not getting those specialized vocabularies in there as well. So our programs plug in, help these students that have dyslexia with their educational courses, whether it be healthcare, law, bioscientific, things like that. And it's a great aid along with the Dyslex font to use for the symptoms of dyslexia.
Now you're still mentioning academia, but aren't business professionals of all walks of life really using these products?
Absolutely. I don't want to exclude anybody at all. Any individual that can suffer from dyslexia, that really comes into play obviously when you're a younger child and you start to learn to read and write. But in the corporate world, we have a large base of dyslexic users as well that are using this in the workplace for their career and profession.
All right. Well, obviously, if listeners want more information, they can go to your website and find that out.
Absolutely.
That's
Our
yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Our website is our corporate website is spellex.com. That is spellex.com. And then if you wanted more information about our Dyslex font product, we actually have a separate site for that, and that is help-dyslexia.com, and you can find all the information about Dyslex font, including video tutorials, free trials, as well as our research, some of the cited research studies that we used. On our corporate site, you can find free trials of our specialized spell checking products as well as speech recognition plugins.
Yeah, if you go to spellex.com, you actually have one of the pull-down menus is dyslexia, and that'll take you to any of the dyslexic fonts. So you really just go to the main website, spellex.com, and it'll take you to the aforementioned helpdyslexia.com. So help dash. Of course, you can also go to our website, go to computeramerica.com, and click on our show notes button, and you'll see today's show, which is March the 26th. Thursday, and we have a link to the Spellex website. We have an overview of the topic for the show tonight, and Vince Petrello was up there, and when you just click on the Spellex Corporation, it's a hyperlink, and it'll take you right to the Spellex website. So that's up there as well. Other ways of accessing it. How much does the Spellex? How much does the Dyslexia font cost?
Sure, we have two versions of the software license, two main versions of the software license for the font, and one is the professional version, which is $59.95, and that's for a single user license. It is a perpetual license, so there's no renewal fee for that. And then we have a educational priced license, which is $24.95 for anybody in the educational sector.
But the fonts are the same, right? It's just the licensing.
Absolutely. Exactly. The fonts are exactly the same. It's just the benefit of being a educational individual to get a greater discount.
Okay. And the product is purchased from the Dyslex website, from the Spellex website. That you buy it there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can go to either of these. Yeah.
You can go to either website and download them. Correct.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, anything else you want to let our listeners know about the Spellex or Dyslex that we may not have mentioned?
That's really about it. Most of the information that your listeners seek will be on our websites. They can find, again, free trials, a lot of product information there. Then they can always reach out to us as well. We have many means of contact: phone, live chat, email, where they can ask us questions.
And again, I encourage you to watch the video there too. It'll give you a really good overview of what this is all about. Well, Vince, I want to thank you for being with us here tonight on Computer America. You're obviously doing some terrific work there, and we'll keep an eye out for and as things develop, and certainly have you back again. But thanks for being with us. Thanks for being with us here tonight on Computer America.
Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care, Vince. Bye-bye.
Have a great night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Okay. All right. Again, Spellex, Spellex Corporation, and you can see all of their products and check them out. And if this is something of interest to you, or you might have somebody that that's not aware of this, you can make it available. Bring it to their attention. If they want to hear the interview, certainly direct them to us at computeramerica.com, and they can listen to the interview. All right. So
Where do you go from there?
I'm not sure. And what we're going to do now is go to do some computer news. We have some time to do some computer stories. So, but before we do that, Ben, I was over at the NVIDIA website, and I was looking at the Titan X.
X, yes. Not the Titan 10, the Titan X.
Titan X, exactly. And we clarified that. Our guest was Tom. He is evidently he's on a lot of the videos, and so he's
Tom Peterson. He's really the spokesman for the Titan X.
Yeah, he's the distinguished engineer for NVIDIA. But watching it, I found it to be something that I didn't really knew about, and I wish I had known about it when we had him on. But I'm sure we'll have him back again. Is that we were looking at the Titan X for gaming, but there's a video on there where they were using some of the new algorithms that were designed by NVIDIA for the Titan X to prove that we actually landed on the moon.
I did not realize that we needed the Titan X to prove that we have been on the moon.
Yes.
I thought that's been a pretty sound argument for the longest time.
Well, that's right, but you see, there are these conspiracy theorists out there that say that we never actually went to the moon, that it was all a big Hollywood thing, and it was staged.
They know that there are mirrors on the surface of the moon that we can shoot a laser off of and get that back, right? Like, there is no other way to do that.
Well, I'm just telling you, though, that there are many people out there who don't think that thought it was an all big hoax by the government and that we never went to the moon. But and so what they did is they used the Titan X and the algorithms that you get or can use with this graphics card. And what they did is they actually were able to show the different lights and reflections from the actual photographs and simulations. And they were actually able to prove, without a doubt, that the photographs are genuine. That this is
good for them. Like, at the same time, good for the people that are still questioning if we landed on the moon. Question unquestionable authority continuously. That is good. We need those kind of people.
Well, but I found the video to be quite interesting, and if you get a chance, you should.
Well, also we kind of focused on the gaming aspect of the Titan X because they did join us on our Gamer Tuesday. So
yes, they did.
They did not join us for our Speculative Fridays, which doesn't exist. So, or does it?
I don't know. Well, anyway, we're good. I thought it was just an interesting video, and if you get a chance to check it out at the NVIDIA website, we have the link again on our show notes page. All right. Well, we have some time before we bring our next guest on. Parallels. They've been on the show a number of times before. Certainly, we had their sister company on the show just recently. And we're going to have them on the program. Their sister company, by the way, was
Cronus.
Cronus, right? Exactly. So we're going to be talking to them in the to Parallels in the second hour. But
it's like finding out your best friend has a cute sister, and they didn't tell us this whole time.
But we're not going to talk about their terrific virtualization of running Windows on your Mac and everything. We're going to talk about another product, their Access product, which allows you to remotely control your computer using your smartphone or tablet or an Android device. It's a very cool technology. Kurt Schmucker is going to be here with us in the second hour of the program, but I think we have a little time to do some computer news. So
Yeah, at least a story or two.
yeah, let's do some news, okay? Tonight's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system for free. That's right. Everything at the slimwareutilities.com website is completely free. Download them all. You'll be happy you did, and you'll thank us for it. slimwareutilities.com. And in this first story here, Xbox One is finally getting voice messages. Hooray! According to Engadget, among the many improvements of moving to a new console generation, the Xbox One left a few features from the Xbox 360 behind. Now, Microsoft is testing a preview for its April update that brings back one of the most requested features, voice messages. As annoying as voicemail can be on a phone, simply saying a quick message while trying to coordinate a raid in Destiny can often be faster than typing it with a controller or even the Smart Glass app. One more bonus, the voice messages will work across Xbox One and Xbox 360. Aha, that's nice. The software update with the features is already available to preview members. And then Microsoft already rolled out tests for better achievement notifications and Game Hub pages, and it has a few more features on the way. Dedicated service for party chat should make keeping a group together easier, even when one person has networking issues. And what's on page that highlights TV shows, game streams, and other content is expanding from the U.S. to the UK and Canada. So there you go.
Very neat.
Very, very neat. Yes, it is. Okay. What else we got?
Oh, what else? You picked like one of the most boring stories of them. and don't get me wrong, hearing about new features of the Xbox, I enjoy it myself. But how about this one? This one is about Amazon. Yes, you know them. They are they're probably our feature overlords. We know them. Apparently, Amazon takes storage wars to the cloud, and now offers unlimited plans. So this one from Max and PC, Paul Lilly, ever a favorite. Never run out of storage again. The future of cloud storage is likely to come down to price and supplementary features rather than allotted storage space. Looking to push the issue, Amazon today, announced a pair of unlimited storage options for the Amazon Cloud Drive that are available to anyone and everyone, not just Prime members. Weird. So Amazon isn't the only cloud provider that offers unlimited space, but it might be the first to pitch it to home consumers on a standalone basis. Because usually you have to subscribe in some sort of business scenario, usually businesses require unlimited storage, but Amazon is doing it on a case-by-case basis, which is very, very cool. So Microsoft also offers unlimited online storage through OneDrive, though you have to subscribe to Office 365. So does Dropbox, though it's aimed at business users and is significantly more expensive at $15 a month more than Amazon's. And then there's Google, which offers unlimited storage through its Google Apps Unlimited and Google Apps for Education services. As for Amazon, its new unlimited photos plan is free for 3 months and then runs on $12 per year, so about $1 a month. You can store as many photos as you like on their cloud drive, plus 5 gigs of storage for videos and other documents. The second option is Amazon's Unlimited Everything plan. It's free for the first 3 months, seeing a recurring theme here, and then $60 per year, $5 per month. You can store whatever you want: photos, files, documents, videos, movies. Doesn't matter. Unlimited for about $5 a month.
Wow.
And yeah, they have a quote here. Not going to read it, but yeah, if unlimited cloud storage was something you were looking into or looking for, Amazon just came out with really at $5 a month one of the better offers.
That is a good deal. It really is. Um, I if you need this type of thing, certainly.
But I think like the article really hit the nail on the head here when they said that it's not going to come down to allotted space, because once you hit unlimited storage, like there's like, you can't offer unlimited plus one. Like that's it for storage. The only thing that they can come down on is price, and then the only thing that they can raise the stakes with is supplemental services. So I mean, you can't get better than unlimited, and right now $5 a month is probably the best you're going to get at the moment.
Yeah, I would think you're right. Exactly. $5 a month. Okay. All right. We have time for maybe another story or two here. You know, this is kind of cute, but if you're looking for a portable pet door, there's a Kickstarter campaign for that. According to TechHive, crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter and Indiegogo are teaming with products that claim to be the smartest this and the smartest that. The Balcony Pets Apartment Pet Door, which recently hit the crowdfunding platform with a $22,000 funding goal, is not one of them. It has no Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, no Z-Wave or Thread support, no IFTTT channel or works with Nest certification, no API or SDK kit, but it does have the one thing that the so-called smart products lack, and that's actual utility. That is, if you are a pet owner living in a rented home or apartment with a sliding glass door, which is over as many 72% of those. Okay. According to the Kickstarter page, this invention is a low-cost alternative to existing pet door solutions that are expensive, difficult to handle panels, requiring special tools. Basically, it's 3 lightweight, clear polycarbonate panels snapped together easily without tools and fit into the tracks of the sliding glass door. Rubber gaskets grab the inner tracks of the sliding glass door for a secure fit. Okay, and basically the $150 balcony pet store is available for $99 to early birds on Kickstarter, and that's it. And you put it in, and you have your pet door in a sliding glass door. It's got the door already built into this. This is actually very, very clever. Okay, and TechHive actually says the thing why this matters. He says, what's there not to like about an affordable, easy-to-use product with real utility, even if it's low-tech, or in the case here, no-tech? It may not work with your smart thermostat, but the 15 by 9-inch balcony pet store can apparently deliver energy savings like 1. Lower your heating and air conditioning bills. Leave the sliding glass door open really affects the amount you pay for heating and air conditioning, and using this pet door saves you money and benefits the environment too. This is very cool. This is a very slick little thing.
It's kind of along the same lines as when Marty Winston brings us in his News Tip Bulletin reviews, things that aren't quite high tech or even tech at all, but still, I mean, a good idea is a good idea.
Yeah, it is. This is and it looks like it's really easy to install. So anyway, it's a Kickstarter product. Someone got very clever with this, and I think they're going to do extremely well with this. That's a great idea. There you go. All right. So what else we got? Do we have time for another quick story?
Yeah. I guess I can do this one in 2 minutes. We've talked about 3D printed guns on the show before.
Yes.
Last time we did, they were only like handguns, and those guns were extremely inefficient. Like they would actually break or snap in half and or explode on the users who actually printed them. Well, it turns out that as technology develops, so does what you can make develops, and this right now.
Wow.
It was 2013 when they built the first 3D printed handgun. Now they have printed a 3D printed AR-15 clone.
Wow.
That can actually shoot 7.62 millimeter rounds.
Whew.
So this is like an actual assault rifle. Really don't have time to get into the specifics of it, but yeah, it shoots actual 7.62 millimeter NATO rounds, and like the gun is actually good for a few clips. So like it's not like it's a one-time throw away your gun. It's actually good for a couple parts. I think the only thing that isn't 3D printed is the actual firing chamber, but everything else is easily available with a $500 ready-to-purchase 3D printer.
Wow, a Da Vinci 3D printer. There you go.
Yep.
You even have a video of a guy firing it.
And it's working.
It's working. There you go. So a new use for your 3D printer that little Johnny can now print an AR-15 assault rifle with it. Hey, listen, we've got, don't forget we have our computer contests going up in full swing. Head over to computeramerica.com. Right there on our homepage under the Interact pull-down menu, we have Enter Contests. We have our Show Reminder Winner of the Week coming up tomorrow night. If you're not subscribing to our Show Reminder newsletter, you really need to do so. It's completely free. It's completely private. When you click the subscribe button, it'll ask you for your first and last name and email address. It'll send you a confirmation email to which you must reply, and then that's it. And every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, delivered fresh and piping hot into your email inbox will be our Computer America Show Reminder. It is the only publication in the entire universe that tells you who's going to be on our show for the entire week. It's like the TV guide for us. We talk about the topics and who's going to be on the show. And
wow, Craig, way to alienate people who have never even seen a TV guide.
and from that list of subscriber names, every Friday we draw a winning name to get a really nice prize from Logitech. It's the Logitech T650 wireless glass touchpad, valued at $80. And we're going to be giving one of those away tomorrow. So make sure you're registered for our show reminder. You get a chance to win something really, really nice. You might win something really nice. All right, Parallels is our guest this next hour. Going to take a quick break, and then we'll continue on. You're listening to us on the Blog Talk Radio Network, the Boost Radio Network, and the IRN Radio Network. Ben and I will be right back with Parallels. Stay with us.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we just had Spellex here on the show talking about their Dyslexia font. Thanks to them for being here in the first hour. Really interesting product. And check it out. And if you missed any portion of our show, as with any of our shows, we archive everything at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to the archives selection at the top of any of the Computer America's web pages, and it'll show you where you can listen, download the audio versions. We have our own YouTube channel. We store all of our videos there as well, which is just a visual representation of everything we do. Our live Computer America video stream. It's available there, and we also have a link over to Apple's iTunes. We have the link will take you right to the place where all of our shows are available. You can do it directly from the browser page that's there, or it'll actually, if you want, launch your copy of Apple's iTunes, so you can download it that way as well. We have our RSS feed there. Everything you need to know about our past shows is under our archives page at ComputerAmerica.com. I really don't promote it enough, but we also have our free software page where you can we have
oh yeah, I've been meaning to update that with the new Pixar's RenderMan software.
Exactly, some of the new things. We're adding a number of new features here, and you should check out all of them. But the free software page is there, and for you chat room participants, we have the IRC client plugins like Chatzilla and HexChat and MIRC at the bottom of the page, so you can download those as plugins, and then it just formats the chat room to be more pleasingly visual if you do participate in the chat room. Head over to computeramerica.com for everything that goes on in our show, and check out all the different pages that we have there. All right. So anything else you want to mention before we invite our next guest on the program, Ben?
No, nothing that I can think of.
I'm still blown away by using that Titan X graphics card to prove that we really did go to the moon.
See, like, the use case doesn't matter for me because, first of all, we went to the moon. Get over it, folks. Second of all, you can do a lot with a GPU. Like, there's a reason why all those huge supercomputers, they aren't full of, these little processing chips. They're full of GPUs, which actually do the heavy lifting of rendering and, weather prediction, weather modeling, huge calculations. Like, they're full of these graphics cards, not of processors.
Right.
Although, graphics cards are a type of processor, they're full of, Titans and not full of i7s.
Right, exactly. They have these cores, and of course the graphics card is what takes the work off of your processor, so we can do other, other important things and leave the graphics to the card. Anyhow, I just found it fascinating to watch. It was over at the NVIDIA website. If you get a chance, so we have a link to it at our show notes page at computeramerica.com. You should check it out. Okay, well, that said, let's move on to our next hour guest. Parallels is our guest tonight. Parallels has been on the show a number of times before, and so was our guest tonight there. Parallels cross-platform solutions make it possible and simple for customers to use and access the applications and files they need on any device or operating system. They are the leader in helping customers take advantage of the best technology out there, whether it's Mac, Windows, iOS, Android, or even the cloud. Tonight we're going to be talking about Parallels Access. Joining us tonight is Kurt Schmucker. Kurt is the Senior Product Manager for Parallels. Kurt, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
Very good. Thank you, Craig.
And again, I don't like to gush about a product, but I've been using Parallels for a number of years. It is a wonderful product. I use it on my Mac to run Windows applications. It's smooth. It's seamless. You can run them both. You can run both operatings at the same time. You have that concurrent feature, which basically you don't care what operating your system in it. If you're running Windows files or Mac files, they just work. It's just a wonderful program, and you keep making improvements to it. And it lets you use all of your existing peripherals with both operating systems, one printer, let's say, for both. It's truly remarkable, and it's come such a long way from when I remember, years ago when they used hardware to do this, and it was clunky or clumsy at best to do it. So again, if you find yourself with a need to be able to run Windows, and one other thing for all the Apple people out there, I don't know if you know this, we actually announced it in one of our news stories, is that Apple is dropping support for Windows 7 in its Boot Camp. So Boot Camp is Apple's free program that allows you to boot either into Windows OS, OS 10, or to boot into Windows, but you can't do them both at the same time. Now you won't be able to do it at all if you have Windows 7. They dropped support for that, which I guess for Parallels is a good thing, is it not, Kurt?
Probably so. I mean, we offer a great deal of flexibility in our Parallels desktop product. So on my Macintosh, for example, I have Windows 7, I have Windows 8, I have Windows XP, I have Windows 10. I can run anything, and that's the feeling it gives you. And I don't have to restart my Mac to do that. Boot Camp is a fine product by Apple, but as you mentioned, you have to choose. Do you want to run Mac? Do you want to run Windows? And now, only one kind of Windows, Windows 8. That's limiting choices for people. People who want some more choices are probably going to migrate to Parallels Desktop.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I mean, I've seen the product improve over the years. It is so slick. It's so easy to use. if you want, you don't even need to know which operating system you're in with the concurrent. You have many different modes that you can use the Parallels product and to achieve different ways of running both operating systems at the same time.
That's certainly correct, and I really appreciate the kind words. What you focused on is what we think is our core strength at Parallels, and that's creating a seamless experience that crosses the boundary between the type of computer you have and the type of computer you need right now. And so in your case, you're on a Mac, but you're able to run Windows applications like IE or Office for Windows right on your Mac, and it's so seamless you don't have to think about that you're running Windows. And we think that's really important to people, and we try to take those same lessons we learned in that and use them, and we created the new product called Parallels Access.
Right. And the other thing I just want to let people know is that whether you have, I mean, you can have a window, for example, for your Windows operating. So the Windows window is actually on the desktop, and you can run that. But you can take files from your Mac and literally drag them to the Windows window, and then it'll become available running the software that's running in the Windows environment. If you want to do it that way, I mean, you have all these different methods of running both operating systems at the same time, and you get, the user, get to choose, have the option of choosing however you want to use it. You can try one, you like the other one better, whatever. You can switch, and that's one of the nice things about Parallels. So
yeah, you're exactly right. People have different workflows, and you might like one, I might like another. So those are just options in Parallels Desktop.
Yep, exactly.
And each person picks the one that works the best for them, and that's great.
Yep, exactly. So, all right. So now, but you're here to talk about Parallels Access. I mean, I can go on to talking about Parallels Desktop for a long time, but we're going to talk more about Parallels Access. So, what is Parallels Access?
Well, just as you mentioned, how Parallels Desktop crosses that boundary between Mac and Windows. So you're on a Mac, but you can run Windows software. Parallels Access enables people who need to run desktop apps on their tablets or their phones. So there's that boundary between what you have and what you need, and we tried to make that as seamless and as easy to use as we possibly could. So we took the same ideas from Parallels Desktop of seamless integration across a computer boundary, and we brought them to tablets and phones.
Now, now, are we talking remote control? Because there are a number of remote control apps on tablets or phones. What makes Parallels Access distinct or different?
You're absolutely correct. There are a number of solutions like that. The thing that makes Parallels Access unique is we actually make the app you're running look like it runs on your tablet. If the example is an iPad, you're on an iPad and you're connecting to a Windows machine and you want to run IE, when you're using it in Parallels Access, you actually can use gestures from the iPad in IE. You can use select text. It looks like text selected on the iPad. So it really makes IE, in this case, look like it's a native app on your iPad. And that's the real distinction between other remote control solutions and Parallels Access. It's that seamless integration, so it makes it look and feel natural to you. If you happen to be on another kind of tablet, it would look natural on that kind of tablet. And that natural feeling, I think, is the most important thing that Parallels Access brings to the remote control sphere.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. So, in other words, when I'm looking at my tablet or my iPhone, I actually see it looks like it's running on my tablet, or it looks like it's running on my, even though it's not, and it's coming from my computer. But it looks, as far as I'm concerned, I'm running the operating system on my mobile device.
As much as we can, we make it look exactly like it should look if it was running natively on your tablet. If you use the example of the iPad, all the iPad gestures that you're not used to using, and all the other apps are going to work in Internet Explorer. And when you select things to copy them or paste them, or typically to copy them in IE, they look like text selections on the iPad. That's how seamless it is. So it makes it feel just like, hey, this is running directly on my iPad. It's not, of course. What Parallels Access does, it gives you a way for you on your tablet to connect to your machines, whether they're at home or at work or wherever, and you have access to all the applications you have on those machines, all the data you've got there, things like this.
Well,
I'm sure you travel a lot.
yes.
And when you travel, it can be a real pain to have to lug around a computer and get through security and so on. I just got back from a trip, and let me tell you, you're just using your iPad, it's really smooth. You go right through those lines really quickly, and that's what I did.
So let me understand this. So basically, now I can use an iPad or I can use my iPhone with access?
You can use either one, of course.
Okay.
The bigger screen is nice.
All
The iPad's a little easier to use. We view the uses of a phone as kind of an emergency use.
All right.
So I usually have my iPad with me.
All right.
But if I'm going to the movies or shopping, I only take my phone.
Right.
And if I really needed to do something, I can connect them back to my home computer, my computer at work from my phone.
Now,
Absolutely.
Now, which computer? Is it a Windows computer that I'm accessing, or is it a Mac that I'm accessing with Parallels? Or is it,
doesn't matter. Either one.
Either
Whatever
one.
you've got.
Okay. So now what do you do? You mentioned obviously the iPhone is a little smaller screen size. Let's say I can't fit everything, or can I? I mean, that's on my iMac, for example. I've got a 27-inch iMac here, and I've got my little iPhone.
Yep.
Do I get some sort of virtual screen where I can scroll around? I mean, how does it work? How do I fit everything from the
Very good question.
This
is one of the flaws in other solutions for remote access. So you're connecting to your Windows machine or your iMac in your case from your phone. Probably you want to do something. You want to open up a document in Word or in Pages. You want to open up a spreadsheet in Numbers or Excel. So when you do that, we make that window occupy the entire screen of your phone or your iPad. So you aren't wasting any space on your little device with your desktop. You just see your application. You just see your document. And that already by itself makes it more usable. But then, of course, you're used to on the iPad or on the iPhone pinching and zooming to zoom in on information.
Right.
Same thing works. Even if that app doesn't have the notion of doing that, we can make it work.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of...
So you're in Word and you need to look things a little bit closer, look at in more detail, or you're in Pages, just spread your fingers apart and the document will zoom for you.
Now,
I'm kind of assuming that the computer that you want to access these documents on has to be on for you to access them, right?
Very good question. So your remote computer has to be powered on. It can be asleep, but it has to be at least, if it's turned off, I can't do anything for you at all. And if somebody pulled out your Ethernet cable, I can't help you there either.
Right.
So connect to the internet and power it up. If it's sleeping, we can usually wake it up. And then you go from there and you run your applications, you access to your data files, things like this.
Now, when I'm doing all that, and let's say somebody is sitting at my computer, do they see everything that I'm doing?
That's a very good question. That's an option in Parallels Access. The default is not to show it.
Oh.
The default is the screen turns gray. And I'll tell you, some of the other people in Parallels who do demos of Parallels Access, sometimes I'll turn that option off, and I'll watch their demo remotely. I'll go, oh, wow, they just made a mistake here. They're going to end up in a problem in a few minutes. It's really funny to watch. So you can, but the default is no. Same reason, if you use an application on your computer that makes sounds, like you're playing a movie or doing anything else like that, the sounds come through your iPad. They don't go through the speaker on your system to annoy your coworkers or your family, for example.
Wow, that is... Now, is this this is a new product for Parallels Access?
It's been out about a little over a year now.
Okay.
It's in its second major release. It's available, of course, in the iTunes App Store, or if it also, as you mentioned, it's available for Android tablets and phones, and so that's on Google Play or on the Amazon App Store, things like this.
All right.
So wherever you get your apps for your tablets or your phone, Parallels Access is probably already there.
Yeah. And so let me ask you this, Kurt. It would seem to me that, as with anything with the internet, especially when you're wireless or remote, what kind of lag time are we? I mean, what are you doing to accommodate? I mean, let's say obviously the stronger your connection to the cell, or is it Wi-Fi? What's the ideal?
It's either cellular or wireless.
Okay.
And of course, with anything, the faster your connection, the better things are going to be.
Yeah.
But we have done a lot of work to make sure it's usable over a cellular connection.
Wow.
So even if there's no wireless and you're just operating over the phone system, it still works just fine.
Okay. Now,
and the way we did that by customizing the protocols, we used to connect to your remote machine, and all that's going back and forth between your computer and your tablet or your phone are some bits from the screen, and then the commands you're issuing. You're pinching or you're scrolling by moving your finger, that sort of information. So we minimize the amount of data that goes back and forth between the two of them. So if you open up a giant spreadsheet on your 27-inch iMac, we don't transfer that spreadsheet to your phone. That would be crazy. We just transfer the part of the screen that you're looking at right now. And that makes it snappier.
Yeah, I would think that would be. So you're only seeing what's
makes makes a huge difference.
Right.
I've played movies with a cellular connection on my phone from my computer at home.
So you're only viewing what is actually being displayed on the screen and not all the things that are off the screen, which would be normally there.
That is correct. You're not.
All right. So that obviously is.
Which is probably,
it makes it more efficient and makes it snappier to use, and you don't need that data. You're not going to be seeing it anyway. So why should we transmit it?
Exactly.
Yeah, I was about to say, data caps are very real and very annoying. So I bet saving some of that data, if you are using this product through a cell service, save you a lot of data in the long run.
Data and money, and also makes the experience snappier, all of which are important.
So let's talk about some.
There are apps that are never going to be ported to the iPad or the iPhone. A CAD CAM system like AutoCAD, that's never going to get ported. It's just too powerful of an application, would never fit on those small devices. But you can use it with Parallels Access because all the hard work's being done on your computer, and we're just transferring the screen information and your commands back and forth, and it works that way. I've even done compilations with Xcode from my iPad across the country. It was hilarious.
Wow. So let me ask you this. First of all, the first thing that comes to mind is security. What kind of a secure access does Parallels Access offer its users?
Very, very, very good question asked of me all the time, and the answer is basically we're using the same level of security that you would use if you were doing a product purchase over Amazon. So if you trust, to put your credit card number in and buy some product and have it shipped to your home, you can do that. You also should trust Parallels Access. We don't transfer your document. We don't store it anywhere. It's only on your system. We just transfer those pieces of the screen that are needed for you to look at, and the commands that go back and forth between you and the computer. And so there's no information that Parallels is storing of yours, and therefore it's very secure.
Really?
Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And
we use the same level of encryption and so on that like Amazon does, for example.
Right, exactly. Now, you have something called the Universal File Manager that's part of the Access. Tell us about that.
So in the second release of Parallels Access, we've added a number of new features. One of the features is maybe I don't need to actually run this application or open this document. I just want to move it. I want to mail it to somebody. I want to put it on Dropbox, things like this. So we could have shown you your entire screen of your 27-inch iMac on your little iPhone screen. That would be kind of a problem. The icons would be so small you have to move them around with a toothpick. So what we do is we designed a alternative to the Finder. We call the Universal File Manager. And what that is a touch-friendly version that gives you all the kind of control you have in the Finder. I want to find a file. I want to open up folders. I want to take that file. I want to move it someplace else. I want to mail it to somebody, things like this. And so we added that to Parallels Access in the last release. And in addition, in the last release, we also had people wanting to use their Android tablets and phones, and so we added support for that also in Parallels Access. So iPhones, iPads, Android tablets, Android phones, no problem.
Wow. Really? I mean, this almost seems to be too good to be true. That you can do something like this.
It is pretty nice, and I got to tell you, to see it actually working is like amazing. When we first began thinking about doing a product like this, we sketched out some ideas, and we showed them to some really smart people, and they said, yeah, nice idea if that could ever work, but like, guys, it'll never happen. So like, give it up. So I really like it when we take on a problem that somebody says is impossible and we make it work. It's really slick to see it running. It's an impressive piece of work, and the reviews have been very, very laudatory, and we're real pleased about that.
So now, are there limitations? I mean, let's go to the extreme here. Let's say Ben wants to. He's a big gamer, and he plays all these different games, and he wants to play that gaming experience on his iPhone, while he's away from his home, and still wants to have access to his computer. Could he play one of his games, which it's not available, on the iPhone? Could he actually take control over his computer and play a game with it using Access?
Today, most games aren't going to give you the experience you want because there's a little bit of a lag between when you touch your finger on the screen and we figure out what you're trying to do and we tell the app what to do.
Okay.
We're working on that, and I'm looking forward to telling you that we have it, but we don't have it today. So when you're doing things like Word or Excel or Pages or Numbers or Photoshop, a slight lag doesn't hurt you.
Right.
But if you're playing a game, a slight lag and you die. And Ben can tell you, I'm sure.
I'm glad you didn't come on here and try to blow it out of proportion and say that.
I'm sorry, you were both speaking at the same time. What did you say, Ben?
Yeah, no. I was gonna say I'm glad you didn't come on and try to sell this as a way to play, your average computer game on your smartphone, because honestly, I wouldn't have been able to agree with you. But you saying that is, very nice, because really you can't overstate how important latency is, and it sounds like the more layers of programs and technology that you put between the server, the game, and yourself, the more latency and the more lag and the more and the longer the input it's going to take. So I'm glad that you came on here and said this. Not saying that it's not useful for movies, documents, things like that, where it really won't hurt you, but for video games, I'm glad you didn't try to sell it off as, yes, you can play video games.
Now,
yeah, you're absolutely right. A quarter-second delay, you never even notice that in Excel. You're playing a computer game, a shoot-'em-up game, you're dead before you can even turn around. And so we know that. We have some ideas how it might work in the future, but today I wouldn't recommend that.
It's amazing because Parallels has accomplished so much in your cross-platform solutions, the desktop, and it's to me you've accomplished what we would have thought it to be impossible, a few years ago, but you've actually been able to do it. And anything that can be conceived can eventually be done. So I'm glad to hear that. Although, right now we're skeptic. Oh, well, you're gonna lose it. But if you're working on ideas, I wouldn't be surprised, that if you came up with a way to do it with games eventually, maybe a year or 2 or 3, whatever it is, it sounds like it's possible,
And when we do, I'll give you a call. And I'll send a copy to Ben, so he can prove it to himself before I get on the line with you guys.
Exactly.
Sounds good.
All right. So, now, there's some other features here that I want to talk about here. Now, what is this Wake on LAN?
So Wake on LAN is the thing that we referred to earlier. Suppose your machine is powered on, but it's asleep. So we need to be able to try to wake it up. And so, and in general we can. Sometimes we can't, but we give it our best shot. And then we have actually a little alarm clock picture next to the picture of your computer, and you poke the alarm clock, and it tries to wake up your machine. And if it's successful, the machine wakes up, and you connect to it, and you run your apps and so on. If it doesn't, then you can't, unfortunately.
Right.
And the reason it might not be successful is it might actually be turned off.
Right.
If it's powered off, or if the internet cable is disconnected, there's nothing I can do to help you connect that machine. There's no way to remotely power on a device that I know of.
Right.
So that one, you're stuck.
Right.
You do have to leave the machine on. You do have to have the internet connected to it. But in many cases, we can wake up a sleeping machine, and that's what we call Wake on LAN.
Now, you also have the full screen applications. Now, with Mac and PC applications, fill the entire screen so it's clear how to get stuff done. This is one of the features that you have.
Yes. So what we borrowed some really great ideas from Apple. So Apple in OS 10 added Launchpad a while ago.
Uh-huh.
And that's a screen that puts your icons, they're really big, you just tap on, they launch,
Mm-hmm.
and it's real touch-friendly. So we use a Launchpad-like idea in Parallels Access. So you don't have to open up your applications folder and scroll through a long list of icons to click on the one you want. You've already preset it up with the 5 or 6 apps that you really use all the time, and they're presented to you in Parallels Access in a big arrangement, a big table of icons that are easily tappable with your finger. And that's how we get around the issue of the big screen and the little screen of your iPhone, things like this. And it works surprisingly well.
Now, what is the lock and go magnifying glass?
So there are occasions when I'd love to be able to, like you use like Pages or Word with that toolbar at the top.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes those icons are kind of small, and your finger is kind of big. And so what you do is, and you've probably seen this on the iPad or the iPhone,
mm-hmm.
you tap and hold,
mm-hmm.
and a magnifying glass appears.
Right.
And that magnifying glass allows you to see in great detail where your finger is.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you a funny story. When Parallels Access was in development, I was getting regular, early alpha and beta builds from our dev team,
Uh-huh.
and they had the magnifying glass working. And I said, next time I talked to them, I said, that's really nice, guys, but I'm a programmer too. I know that to put a magnifying glass up on the iPad, it's just a few lines of code. What's the big deal? And they went, Kurt, you misunderstood. It's a few lines of code if your application is on the iPad, if your data is on the iPad. You're using an application that's 4,000 miles away on a document that's in the cloud. We had to reinvent completely the magnifying glass to make it work under those circumstances. It looks like the Apple magnifying glass, but the internals are totally different. And that's why it's such an important deal.
Yeah. Well,
so it looks and feels natural to the iPad user, and they don't even know that it's not the normal magnifying glass they've seen in other applications on the iPad.
Kurt, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to continue on and talk more about Parallels Access with you. So stand by. This is the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the IRN Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network. Parallels is here tonight. We'll continue on with them right after these words. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
I know you're all ears. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the First Alert Standard Home Extinguisher. Between gear upkeep, rewiring things for a connected home, and all the other little chores we do these days, how certain are you that nothing will ever catch fire? Our CES chat with First Alert brought us their standard home fire extinguisher to review. It's UL rated at 1A 10B C, meaning the equivalent of 1 gallon of water on Category A trash, wood, or paper fires, 10 square feet of coverage for Category B flammable liquids, and it's non-conductive, so usable on Category C live electrical fires. This metal body rechargeable dry chemical extinguisher has instructions on it. Pull the pin, aim for the base of the fire from about 6 feet away, squeeze the lever, and sweep side to side. When it comes to dealing with fires, we like Barney Fife's rule for dealing with problems overall. You've got to nip it in the bud. Bottom line, should a small fire break out and you're your own first responder, the First Alert Standard Home Fire Extinguisher is a good way to respond. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is the last half hour of the show. It's 33 minutes past the hour. We have Kurt Schmucker here with us. He is the Senior Product Manager over at Parallels.com, and we're really focusing on this Parallels Access, which is a brand new product. And, someone in the chat room actually brought up a pretty good point. And, we've heard of a couple things like this, probably not as full features as this, and they want to know what the difference is between something, let's say, go to my PC that, we've seen them around.
Or log, that type of thing.
Logman, that kind of thing. And I'm guessing it has something to do with, integration between other Parallels products, but yeah, if someone has access to those, what does Parallels Access bring to the table?
Yeah, a very reasonable question. So I think that the two things that we do is we try to make the experience for the user on their tablet look and feel natural to them. So in effect, what we do, if suppose you're on the iPad and you're connected to a Windows machine, we in effect superimpose the iPad user experience onto the Windows experience when you're launching, say, Word or IE or something like this. And so that's why you can use iPad gestures and they work in a Windows application. That's why when you select text, it looks like it was text selected on the iPad. It doesn't look like it would look like on a Windows machine. We try to make it look natural there. And also, as Craig mentioned earlier, when you open up a document, we take the entire screen of your phone or tablet and devote it to just that document window. To get the biggest possible use and the most information to you as possible, we don't show you your entire 27-inch screen on your iPad or your iPhone, and therefore making the window really a tiny portion of that screen. That would be just too small. Many of the other remote control applications do both those things, and that's a problem. So we tried to make it much more usable, but in the view from 10,000 feet away, they're both remote control applications. You connect to machines that you own or have control over, and therefore they have the applications on that you want and your data and things like this. So they're in the same general area, but the experience is so different. We even think they might be in a different subclass of remote control where we show you the user experience of the device you're on. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
And Ben also mentioned integration with other Parallels products. The Parallels Access and Parallels Desktop are in fact independent products. You can run either one of them all by themselves, but if you happen to have both, we integrate them very nicely. I can talk about that if you're interested.
That is slick. Okay, so in other words, so if I have Parallels Desktop on my Mac and I'm using Parallels Access, you have some additional mechanisms that's going to make it much more smooth, a much more smooth experience than if I was using one of the other products, is what you're saying.
That's correct. So what happens is, in Parallels Access, you have this kind of launch pad arrangement of the applications you want to run on your Mac. And maybe you have, Pages on there. Maybe you have Keynote. That's great. Safari. But when you get your list of applications that you choose to put on your launch pad, we'll also show you applications that are in your virtual machines. So we'll show you IE. We'll show you Word for Windows. And you put them on that same launch pad, just as today we show Windows applications in the Mac dock. In in Parallels Desktop, in Parallels Access, if you happen to connect to a machine that has Parallels Desktop on it, we will enable you to put Windows applications on the screen of your Parallels Access connection and launch them just as if they were Mac applications.
Now let me ask you this. Let's say, oh, I don't know.
Craig, you're cutting out there for me.
Okay, can you hear me now? Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? Kurt? Kurt, can you hear me? Yeah.
I'm not hearing Craig at all.
Okay.
That is a weird situation indeed. Well, let Craig ask his question, and then if for some reason you can't hear it.
Okay, Kurt, can you hear me now? Do I sound fine?
Ooh.
Yeah?
Now it's going back.
It's going back. You know what, Kurt?
All right, Craig, ask your question. I'll re-ask it. We'll go on with this.
Okay. Well.
So Ben, I'm basically getting this little beeps from Craig.
Okay.
So I can't hear his question at all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll re-ask it in just a second. So hang tight, just 1 second.
So if I want to,
Wow.
okay, what if I want to? Let's say I want to turn my machine off using Parallels Access. I'm finished with it. Can I actually power down the computer that I'm hooked to?
Yeah. So in
if
case
you're connected from your phone or your iPad to your remote machine, can you turn that machine off?
Yes.
Yes, you can. But once you do that, you're kind of stuck because there's no way to turn it back on again.
So if I had left my computer on, let's say I was going out of town and I forgot to turn my computer off, and then I could actually turn my computer off remotely with using Parallels Access, which is kind of cool. All right, that is neat. Okay, so now can you still hear me now, Kurt? Or
I can now hear you. It was really horrible there for a bit, but now all of a sudden it got fixed. I don't know what happened.
Okay, well we tweaked it. Okay, so
thank you.
Yeah. Is Parallel Access available for any other devices?
So Parallels Access is available for iOS devices, iPhone or iPad, also for Android phones or tablets, including the Amazon Kindle.
Okay. Now,
and so wherever a person who owns one of those devices gets their applications, for an iPad or iPad user, it would be the App Store from Apple. For an Android tablet, it would be the Google Play or the Amazon App Store. Each of those places already has Parallels Access in the stores, and you can download it and install it from there.
Now, let's say I had a Samsung product, like a Galaxy Edge or a Galaxy Note 4. They have little stylus pen. Do you support those devices with the Access?
We in fact do. We have a close relationship with Samsung. On some Samsung devices, you actually get a free subscription to Parallels Access. And so yes, we're in the Samsung App Store, and we fully support the pen that's available on those devices, and it is really slick. You can be really, really precise. And we have some movies on the Parallels website that show you the use of the pens on Samsung devices, and they're really impressive.
Now, I want to stress that Parallels Access is
unfortunately, I'm not hearing you. I mean, it gets little beeps and burps, so I can't get any content at all.
Okay, all right. Ben, tell him that.
No, now it's better.
All right. Well,
I don't know if it's on my end or your end or what.
Well, listen,
when it goes out, it's really bad, and when it comes back, it's just great.
Well, Parallel Access is basically for both the computer and your iOS device. In other words, you're not using it for computer to computer. In other words, I'm on the computer, I can't control my computer remotely with Access. It's only from mobile device to computer. Is that correct?
Good question. So in our latest release, we had some people ask us to increase the usability of Parallels Access in terms of the number of devices you could use it with. So we had originally designed Parallels Access to be from a mobile device to a remote computer,
right,
like a phone or a tablet to a remote computer.
Right.
But in the latest release, we added computer-to-computer control.
Huh.
So when you're using that, you just open up a web browser on any machine, and you can connect to your Parallels, your remote computers using Parallels Access. And the real beauty of that is no software needs to get installed on the device you're sitting in front of. That can be a computer that you borrowed from a friend. It can be a computer in a library, at a school lab. Just open a browser next to the Parallels website, log in, and it'll show you the list of machines that you have set up to use the Parallels Access. With one click, those machines are shown to you in a new browser window, and you're ready to connect to them and do things. It's really nice, and I've used it a bunch of times since that came out.
It keeps getting better and better. This is it really is. Okay, so the obvious question is, what does parallel access cost?
Yeah, of course, very reasonable question. So there's two pieces of software that make parallel access work. The part that goes on your tablet or your phone, and the part that goes on your remote computer. Both those are free.
Huh.
If you want those to talk to each other, however, you need a subscription. And the subscription costs $19.99 a year for access to up to 5 remote computers and any number of phones or tablets. So if Ben has 3 phones and 6 tablets, but he has a Mac at home and a PC at work, he's just set. $20 a year, no problem.
Wow. This is actually
such a conservative effort of the amount of technology I own. Thank you for that. Yeah, no.
Well, I figure you need that many tablets. I mean, you really do. I can tell that just from your voice.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah,
so,
just
the variable to control in terms of pricing was the number of remote computers you have access to. So I pushed the limit. I had like 7, I think. So I had to get a parallel access subscription and then extend it. Buy access to a few more machines. But you can do that. The standard user doesn't, of course. I'm kind of a weird person, and with a standard subscription for $20 a year, you can set up 5 computers you can connect to. Most people do not have more than 5 computers.
Right. And it sounds like this is very reasonable. So basically, it sounds like it's a subscription basis. Unlike, let's say, Parallels Desktop, you buy the software and then you get updates, what have you. With Access, you get the product for free, and then to do the actual connection, it's a subscription service. You get it's once a year.
Right, and the reason for that, of course, is that when you connect, you're actually using Parallels cloud resources to make that connection happen, and that's how it gets around firewalls and that kind of good stuff. Same way their web browser does. But when you make connections, you're consuming resources on our end, and that's why it is a subscription-based product.
Now, again, when I'm using Access, I'm accessing my computer, and I have an iPhone, and I need to, and I'm on the computer, I'm using a mouse. So on Access, then I'm not using a mouse. I'm using the the multi-touch surface of the device. That's how I'm accessing the mouse. Correct?
Correct.
So how do I, if I have
we actually give. Go ahead.
So what if I have a 2-button mouse, or I have a scroll wheel or something? How do I do a right click, or can I? How do I do the different mouse functions?
Of course, you have to be able to do a right click.
Yeah.
We give you a couple of mechanisms for doing that. So one is a very sort of Apple-like approach. We have gestures that mean right click, left click, that sort of thing. Tap with 1 finger, that's a normal click. Tap with 2 fingers, that's a right click.
Yeah.
That's one way, and that works pretty well for many uses. If you really want some more fine control, there's an alternate, cursor setting in Parallels Access, and you'll actually be able to grab a right-click button and a left-click button on your little picture of a mouse on your screen and control exactly what happens. So it depends what you want to do.
So you actually see a little virtual mouse, you're saying?
You can have a little virtual mouse, and you move it around the screen, and you hit the left button or the right button exactly right.
And then if you want to scroll up and down using the scroll wheel, can you do that as well?
We don't have a scroll wheel. You would use a gesture for that.
A gesture, okay. So which gesture would you use to scroll up and down?
iPad gestures, all the standard iPad gestures. You want to scroll, just move your 2 fingers up on the screen or down on the screen. You want to zoom, just pinch or pull together your fingers like that. All the standard gestures work in applications.
Very, very nice. Very slick. And so basically, you mentioned I'll need separate subscriptions for. Will I need separate subscriptions for my iPad, let's say, and my Samsung tablet?
Very good question. the Parallels Access subscriptions are hardware agnostic. So you get a subscription, you have 5 machines. We don't care what kind of 5 machines you use, and we don't care what kind of tablets you use. So Ben, with his 2 iPhones and his Android tablet, and with his Mac and his PC, 1 subscription, no problem at all.
Very nice. What about firewalls or other security software that blocks remote connections? How do you deal with that?
The same mechanisms that allow a web browser when you're at home to surf on websites that are, your machine at home, of course, is protected by a firewall, and of course the web server at the magazine you're connected to or the website, that's protected by a firewall, but it all works, right? We use exactly the same mechanisms.
Now, wait a minute. Are you saying
so?
That...
I have a firewall here at home.
Yeah.
I was at a hotel in Singapore. A really nice hotel. Had excellent security and stuff on there, wireless. And I sat in my room. I connected to my home machine, and I used Parallels Access to open a document and make a couple of changes to it, and then put it into Dropbox.
Nice.
Never even. No. I of course have to log into Parallels Access. I have to log into my machine, but none of the firewalls involved there caused me any difficulties at all.
That is very slick. Another thing that just occurred to me is that if I have an Android device, are you saying that Android gestures will work with my Mac apps? How is that possible?
It's possible with the same magic we make iPad gestures work with Windows applications. We took some of this technology that we developed in Parallels Desktop, and you're probably familiar with coherence, that technology.
Yes, I am.
We took and developed new technologies for gesture recognition, and we made those work so you could do exactly what you just said. And that's actually the magic, the secret sauce, if you will, of Parallels Access. And making that work is what makes us distinct from all the other applications that do remote control of remote machines.
Wow. Now you mentioned that.
But you're absolutely, and when you're on an Android tablet, and you make a text selection, it looks like an Android tablet text selection. Whether you're connected to a Mac app or a Windows app, we don't care. It looks the way it should look on the device you have in your hand, and that's what makes it feel natural to people.
Yeah, I got to try this out. You're making me salivate now. I got to try this.
You're going to go out and buy a couple of tablets tonight, aren't you? I can feel it in your tone of voice.
Exactly. So now you mentioned that there were 2 releases of this. Is it its second version? What is the latest release of Parallels at this point?
The latest release is version 2.4.
Okay.
And that's been out now for about I think come out in December, so about 3-4 months, something like that.
So what does this new release contain? What did you add with this next?
There were 2 big things in the new release. The one thing was the computer-to-computer connection I told you about earlier.
Yeah.
So not only does it work from mobile devices, but you can also go from a computer at a library someplace, connect back to your home computer. No problems at all.
Very nice.
And the second thing was what I mentioned about that Finder replacement. Finder's a great file manager if you have a mouse and a big screen. On a little screen, it's kind of not so great. So we developed a very touch-friendly alternative to the Mac Finder and to the Windows Explorer that we call the Universal File Manager. And that's in Parallels Access, and that lets you burrow into all the folders and stuff you've got organized on your computer, find that one file, open it up, mail it to somebody, move it over to Dropbox, and of course, Parallels Access works with all the major cloud services. So Dropbox, iCloud, OneDrive from Microsoft, things like that are all built in, so you can move files back and forth, no problem at all.
So again, though, I'll see my Mac Finder desktop, use it on my iPhone with Parallels Access. So if I want to open up a folder, sorry.
Let me be very clear. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out most people don't, and most people don't want to, because you have a big 27-inch iMac at home.
Yeah.
You put that big screen on your little tiny iPhone, it's going to be like impossible to see anything. So while you can, in fact, see your desktop, the normal use of Parallels Access, you don't.
Okay.
We give you an alternate view that's easier, more touch-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
You see your applications in a sort of launchpad array.
Mm-hmm.
You tap the application you want, it launches, you open a document, you're off you go. document occupies the entire screen of your tablet or your phone.
But if I want to, I can see my desktop.
If you need to, move things around your desktop, you can definitely do so. And good luck with that 27-inch screen on that little 3-inch iPhone.
What about?
It can be done. You can zoom. You can do it.
What about?
It's not the most pleasant experience in the world, but sometimes you need to do it. I do it on occasion.
What about the dock? If I have a dock on the bottom, I can access the dock too, just like I see on the screen.
Absolutely. You'll see the full desktop of your Mac.
I got to try this out. This is there was a question in the chat room or something here, Ben. Ben from Andy. He asked a question.
No.
Rendezvous servers.
No, that's not really a question. More of a point. He's talking about how some of the other remote softwares, they'll use a rendezvous server where they'll kind of make the data sync up on an alternate server, and it's good for security, but sometimes the connection tends to fall off or get disconnected. So he was kind of wondering which one Parallels uses.
I think the easiest way to answer that is to say we never move your documents. The Parallels servers never hold your documents. You open your document, it's opened on your remote computer. You interact with it. Parallels Access will send commands to that application. Things will happen, the screen will change. We send the screen bits back to your phone or your tablet. We never store your documents. They're always on your system. You always have complete control of that. So there's no servers in the middle that store anything. There are servers in the middle that help you, without your intervention, navigate firewalls and things like that and make all the connections work. But those are all things you don't have to get involved in. But we never store your documents. They always stay on your machine. We never move them. And when I explain that to people, they all usually go, "Oh, that's great. I don't want you getting my documents stored on your servers."
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't do that.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
I believe it does.
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Now, if you connect to your machine at home or at work, and from that machine you can get to various servers, you can still do that from Parallels Access. You're connected to your home machine, and you can connect to your home music server or whatever, and get that file off of there and bring it over to your iPad, play it, whatever you need to do. No problem at all.
Well,
you can even print if you need it to. It'll print, of course, to a printer connected to your home machine. It won't print at the hotel you're at across the world. And we can't solve that problem just yet.
Yeah. Well, obviously, this is something that's very cool, and I can't wait to try it out, Kurt. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, it's you can go to the Parallels website, or you can go to our website, computeramerica.com. Just click on the show notes button, and we have a link to the Parallels website, which has all of the products listed there for you to check out and try out. Again, I'm very impressed with what you guys are doing. I mean, the Parallels desktop for me was amazing, but now I think this Access looks equally amazing. And I encourage all of our listeners, if you have any reason whatsoever to be able to remotely control your computer from wherever location you are, just that one time, that you really need to get something, a piece of email, whatever it is that you want from your computer, and see it, that'll just pay for for itself. It's $20 a year, and the software is free, as you heard. Kurt, you're doing something. You're doing amazing.
Thank you very much, Craig. Just as we do for Parallels Desktop, there's a free trial of Parallels Access also. So you can test it out, no risk at all.
Excellent to know. And again, you guys are doing amazing things over there at Parallels. It's always impressive stuff that you do, and I want to thank you for being with us here on tonight's program, Kurt. Thank you so much.
Happy to do so. Thank you so much, Craig. Nice talking to you, Ben. Get those phones and tablets so you can test this out.
Yeah.
Will do.
Thanks again, Kurt. Have a great evening. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
There he goes again. It's Parallels, and again, you can check these things out. I think it's pretty cool. I mean, if you ever need to get access to your computer remotely with your iPhone, I mean, I could see. I know you don't have a lot of stuff on there that's critical, but there might be something on your computer that you want.
Why do you have to bring it back to me, Craig? Huh? Why can't you say, yeah, I could use this?
I can use this. This is something I could.
There you go.
Is this something that you could use, though? Maybe. I don't.
Maybe. maybe for movies and such, like maybe if you have a NAS and you like to watch movies on the go,
Yeah.
this would work.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. I'm definitely gonna try to try it out. So we're gonna have one for you and one for me to test it out and see how this works. If it's anything like he says, I'm in. It's an amazing product. Again, Kurt Schmucker, Senior Product Manager for Parallels, and thanks to him and also to our first hour guest Vincent from Spellex for joining us here on the program. What do we got tomorrow night? Oh, yes, of course.
Ralph Bond.
Yes, he was delayed. We actually had a different guest that it was Logbar. I think it was on. Yes, so they got to do it. So we had Logbar on. And we moved Ralph from his second Friday of the month to this fourth Friday of the month.
He should be back at his usual location next month.
Next month he'll be back, same place, same time. But Ralph's got some interesting things that he's going to be talking about on tomorrow night's show. One of the things is he's got a 3D printing news roundup, where he's talking about some of the really interesting things they're doing with 3D
90
printers,
seconds.
including, we talked about it before, but he's going to be talking about 3D printed meat and the future of food with 3D printers. 3D printed glasses, some of the things that he's going to be talking about just on the show. 3D printed limbs, battling robots, 3D printed robots. It's going to be a fun show with Ralph. Of course, all kinds of other great things like a round smartphone. Can you imagine having a smartphone
60 seconds.
but it's round, flat and round like a disc? These are really cool things he's got here. Anyway, Ralph's going to be with us for both hours tomorrow night, and we look forward to him and having you join us on tomorrow night's show. So, are you going to? We're going to have video with you tomorrow, Ben?
Potentially, maybe. Tune in to find out. No promises.
Well, you sound great.
Thank you.
Everybody, thanks so much for being with us here tomorrow night, and Ben and I will see you tomorrow night. So until tomorrow night, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Oh, good night, everyone.
Yes.
I forgot.
No, you didn't.
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, everybody, again on our Hangouts live video stream, thanks for watching us here on the program. And it's Friday night tomorrow night. Get your registration in for our show reminder if you don't already have it. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow night. Tthanks so much for being with us here. Good night,
everyone.
Good night.